Yo, Blackers on no. This your boy Faray. Thank you for coming through to come through the podcast. Expect to have a good time, man. Because oh my gosh, I know y'all going with y'all introductions, but I just have to say, oh my gosh, because the shit going on in the VI that's been unraveling for the past week and change. That
It's
shit is
crazy.
crazy. It's crazy,
I know what time it is, and if you don't know what time it is, you better get familiar. It's the one and only, the luxurious. If you're watching, then you get to see. And if you're not, just listen to the nice bass and soothingness of my voice.
this
This
guy.
is your boy, Mr. Deshaw Webb.
Hey, me gonna
And
lie, web your intros will be getting better and better every time.
Yeah, this he be doing his thing now.
You hear come in like the luxurious, the Web. Hey, but anyways, this is boy Mr. P. I ready to get into the politics, man, Fire.
Man,
Politricks, that's the name of the episode. Politricks.
for y'all that do not know or have not heard, if you're living under a rock, I don't know because this word is everywhere. Right? So
Tell
if
me
you ain't
no.
here, you need to do better with your real life updates of the world of the VI. But all this shit going on to sum it up, then we gonna get a little more into specifics. A lot of people in government positions is getting cracked down by the feds for misusing funds for doing all type of shady shit. You check, and it started last week, the beginning of last week, really, or was it even
Mm-hmm.
before that? I don't know, but it's all started with who was it that got indicted first?
It
Charlemagne,
was Charlemagne and them.
It was Charlemagne and them and his wife. They get
And and
indicted.
um and
the
VIHFA,
COO for VI
the
FHA.
COO.
So y'all
Yep.
hearing this is three people so far. That's why it start off with that. It start on a high note, my son. So three
Facts. These
people
guys
get
are my
indicted
directors and them.
for what? It was $3 million worth of a $3 million contract over 3 years or something like that.
$4 million worth of fraud. It started off at three or so, but you know what I'm saying? Over time, if you don't teeth, you got really teeth, you know what I'm saying? So they were able to tack on a little bit extra on top of it, you know what I'm saying?
And y'all know when the feds come down, that's because they've been building a case for a good little minute. So I don't know how long they've been tracking these people, how long they've been looking into stuff and putting together a case. But when they got enough, it's time to roll out. And roll out is what they did. So details, Brian. You got any details for the people them in how this thing took place? I know what Charlemagne, he had a construction company or a company that was given the job, the position, the contract to store a bunch of material, lumber and different things like that for the hurricane repairs, for Hurricane Maria and Irma that frig up the island. And it started where he was storing it for Sunshine Mall or something like that. Not
So
Sunshine,
Sunshine
Tutu.
Mall,
It was Sunshine, right?
yeah, Sunshine Mall originally either had the contract or just had some kind of agreement to store the wood there.
Mm-hmm.
And then they decided they don't want to store the wood there anymore. So then they had to put the opening for the contract to be able to get somebody to be able to store it. So they put it
Mm.
out there, and two companies ended up bidding on it. Which one was Charlemagne? I think it was DNS, and another combined with another entity, which was Charlemagne and them, and then another company who was not qualified at all. Really, they went up for it as well. Obviously, though none of the paperwork made any sense, and no background checks has was done, Charlemagne and them end up getting the contract, and hmm, the salaries insane, the expenses insane. As we know, the wood end up being stored at Henderson outside,
Alexander
as a matter of
Henderson.
fact. So he end up using his government position. Let's make that clear, to get free storage. Mind you, the whole contract is a paid deal for the storage. He uses resources to get free storage end up paying what $120,000 for warehouse manager. Man, you guys, the wood is being stored outside. I don't really know exactly which warehouse this warehouse manager was kind of managing. You know what I'm saying? But the wood was outside.
Outside
The
manager.
forklift driver was getting paid 100 grand. Hey, if you got a forklift license, the Virgin Islands paying 100 grand for forklift. Not the Virgin Islands, I would say, but hey, the directors in the Virgin Islands willing to pay you $100,000 under the company that they're doing illegal work under to go do this work. So shout out to them. And then that the office managers, whatever the case, were making about 80K. Mind you, this what outside, and on top of that, why it took Brian about 4 months or so before of payments before he even
Before
get
the
up to
ink.
do
Yeah,
any work.
that's the
So
thing.
these man done been getting paid. Add on to it, contract going, and I guess for some reason they talked about extending the contract from 2.8 to 3 years. Mind you, according to the article, and I'm sourcing this from VI Consortium, the contract was always 3 years, but because they made that agreement, he was able to ask for more money, got the more money, spin back the block, what, 2 months later, asked for more money again, got the more money
Another two
again.
months later.
Mind you, this is the director of maintenance for the Department of Education. Why is it even in a position that his company have this contract?
The world may never know.
The
That in
world may
itself
never know.
sounds shady as shit. Just the reviewing the contract and seeing the numbers, I'm not sure where in the pipeline. It seemed like I ain't saying anybody else guilty now, but I just saying, just it seemed like the entire pipeline was in on this
Listen,
contract going through. That I not blaming or telling or snitching. I don't know, but it just sound like that sketchness runs through this whole that ran through the whole process. So I'm sure
All
the
right.
Fed's not done, but
Well, speaking of snitching, I don't know if somebody snitch or phone records get hold and information come out because since then, wait, before we even get there, before we get there, let's continue to talk about all the things he was doing with this money to include the $365,000 in personal and business expenses, $120,000 take out in cash, wife makes $67,000 for no apparent reason. Then I
that's
think
not
what I
no.
think what he had to do, he report 21 employees or some insane amount of employees when there wasn't even that much on the books. So he did like
Hmm.
$1.5 million in labor, but only 460 something thousand or 400,000, a little bit over $400,000 was even on payroll. So who knows where the money? But I had a little piece of paperwork from an outside source with some properties that has this name surrounding it, and I mean like the list kind of long. So maybe I guess maybe some of the money might have went there. Me and Brian were talking about it, and we had talks. It'd have been decent if the man could at least give us a word or something. You know what I'm saying? But my
and I
boy not
think
only thief the money, he leave the water outside.
that is what that's what make it so much more heart wrenching, dog. I mean,
What?
for one, taking federal funds that's meant to assist the Virgin Islands as a whole, it's one thing, and of course that's ridiculous, that's crazy, that hurts the VI as a whole. But you have this material outside, and I remind you, y'all, that it was outside. It was never in a warehouse. It was never properly stored after it left the Sunshine Mall facility. So it was not properly stored, and now to up to date, this lumber, this wood, these things that was meant to help Virgin Islanders rebuild and fix up their homes so that it's livable. Really, it's no longer even usable. It's now waste. It's now condemned because it's the wood rotten. It gone bad. So that it's just extremely sad that patience you went through all of that to get this sketchy ass contract, but you didn't even do the storage job properly. Come on now.
The one thing, get you could
You got
at
at
least put a
least
wood
follow
in
through
a
with the
shed.
contract. Uh, minimum. How he even get approval to go use Alexander Henderson as a storage facility? I don't know. And the thing is, everybody passed Alexander Henderson. When I first come down, when I first see this, I guess this was after I come back down from living in Gainesville. I'm like, what's this? What's this? Every time I pass, because we used to go West Beaches all the time during that period,
Facts.
and it's
Cut
like,
you the back road.
what what is this? I like never see anybody out there. I never see no forklift operator. I never see anything. It just it just been stagnant. And for the whole time, I'm just saying, like, I was assuming that it was to rebuild Alexander with all the material I saw there. And then
That's why I thought it was too.
that's what I thought. I mean, and then I thought it would. I heard that it was FEMA for hurricane relief to help people rebuild their homes. But every time I pass this place, I never see any proper action. I heard that the lumber did go to use, and it was used on certain people's homes. I don't know the truth behind it, but
That
it
is true.
definitely wasn't being distributed to the people appropriately. And look at where we are today. So ain't no rest for the wicked. People, you don't get fined, you don't get caught. Federal funds is not something to fucking play with, dude. At all. At all. And when you make the paper trail so easy to follow, it's only a matter of time. I'm not sure what was the thought process, seeing the stuff that came to light and has been shown and shared with the public. Is absolutely ridiculous that someone could think that they could get away with something like that when they're doing it so blatantly.
Well,
So
we have some updated info to share, and this is and mind you, guys, this is before we even get to the other parties who has been caught up since this unraveling of the U.S. Virgin Islands government has
I like
begun.
that word unraveling.
But Brian, take us away and share some of the new info that we have now.
Yeah, I must touch on what Fire was saying and Foster giving away the wood. As we hear chatting, information, we live in that era where it does keep coming in. And though he was awarded the contract he should have never been given. Obviously, he got it because the COO made it so. He illegitimized someone else's contract or their bid, so they weren't able to be in the runnings for that. But
Allegedly.
apparently, yes, he was in charge of managing and storing a warehouse, storing the wood in a warehouse, which was a field in front of the school, Henderson. But he wasn't actually in charge of giving it out. So that's a whole nother entity that probably going to go on the investigation because yes, some people like you said, Fire, were able to benefit from this wood, but a lot of people, quote unquote, didn't meet the qualifications, so the wood wasn't given out. So is that one of the wood gonna be used as some kind of evidence at this point, like to show that it was mishandled and misstored, but it also wasn't used in the appropriate way because how long ago the hurricane was? What, 7 years now? People
yeah,
still
damn,
have
that
blue
was seven
top on their
years.
roof. So clearly another entity wasn't doing their job and helping people to fill out these forms or to appropriate the funds so they could actually get a contract because apparently it had something to do with contractor fault because most of the homes they wanted them repaired and how they were before prior to the storm, and then you need to get approval to now if you put it back the way it was before the storm and the storm damage it is almost like it's pointless. So it's also a shame again on I ain't gonna say you were afraid to say the whole VIHA in the sense of I was trying to outsource these contracts to people from abroad instead of giving them to local people who clearly know how to build the houses to code and would more be compliant to follow the rules instead of trying to outsource the work. But we ain't here to shame all of those guys. We're just here to talk about Mr. Charlemagne and his co-conspirator, the CEO of VI. What is this thing? It's too much acronyms. VIHFA.
VI
Yeah,
and
HFA. Yeah.
Virgin
I
Islands
mean,
Housing and Finance
finance
Authority.
authority, yeah. But you got to add that extra F because then you just drop that F and it's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
whole
because
different,
they have yeah, it's a
So
whole other agency when you mess it like that.
exactly. So I want to make sure that I say the right thing. I want to call it the right company. And the man wife with us along for the right. I mean, she been on payroll with no check stub, no tax. I mean, she was living it up too. I mean, what you say? What, like over 60K, and she wasn't even on no
67, I
payroll. She
think you
had no
say.
job title,
Nothing. And that's
and
just what they catch, you know what I'm saying? Imagine how much
exactly. I
money
mean,
they ain't know with pay there, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
you know,
But
like the sources dropping, all the man property. A lot of people on Sinclair probably know that boat called a bacchanal. The 35,000 man spent on fireworks. Me, you living a lavish lifestyle. And like you were mentioning, well, who knows what he was doing with his regular position inside the government, which he
facts.
was
Cause this is
highly unqualified for. But
yeah,
that's another
this is
story.
just one this is just through his business. This isn't he still was sitting in the capacity of director of maintenance for the Department of Education. So who knows what he did on
Hmm.
that side, you know what I'm saying? Because if he's gonna do nonsense on one side, you're gonna do nonsense on the other side. But since then,
Mhm.
there's been quite a few investigations going on, you know what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
seems like this started a big ripple effect. Shout out to the feds eradicating some of the
Corruption.
bullshit and the corruption that's going on. So big shout out to them. But since then, director of OMB, I think that's what management and budget, Office of
Hmm.
Management and Budget. That director had the phone records seized, I think.
Hmm.
The police commissioner house was raided in St. Thomas.
In the middle
Mm.
of the
I don't,
in the middle of the night, morning, early
yep.
morning.
I don't have too much details on that on hand.
Don't
And
talk.
then
Also, the forced resignations.
oh yeah, forced and ladies and gentlemen, we know what it means when investigation starts and people start to resign. We know
Yeah.
exactly what that means. So I've heard banking records have gotten seized for different agencies. I think there was some more agencies. I don't know off the top of my head. Some more agencies that's under some scrutiny now. I think Farah you had
Hmm.
mentioned a couple others.
I, I, bel- I think I heard earlier this morning sports park and recreation commissioner now got into some issues as well. Well, at least getting pulled in and questioning. I don't know if he officially got indicted or anything yet. I've yet to see any news on that. But yeah, it seemed like they're cracking down. Whether it's they fully guilty or it's just part of the investigation to just collect all the information possible to continue building the case. I'm not sure, but
Hmm.
a lot of people from various agencies that's obviously interrelated when it comes to these contracts, interrelated when it comes to a lot of the functions that go on in the VI are being pulled up, are being rounded up, and we'll see where the ball land because at this point the whole house sound like it getting clean out from whatever
Yeah,
people
Facts.
was
but
in this corrupt vibes, and
who
the
running the
feds ain't
house?
playing.
That's the
I'm
question.
happy
Who
to
running
see
the
it.
house?
Who running the house is a question, and that's one thing that I think the investigation is going to reveal. So I don't think there's any hiding at this point. It's going to come.
I agree. And I do want to say this. Not only do I want to hold these people accountable or want them to be held accountable to the high extent of the law, because now we are our own people, stealing from our own people. But as the Virgin Islands community, some of these people are people that we put in position. And I know it's not just them. I know it's trickling down and it's trickling down, and nobody's saying nothing and nobody opening their mouth. So
Hmm.
I'm a little bit disappointed in all those people who have that secondary hand and know what's going on and know that the our own people are fucking over our own and not saying anything about it and taking part in it because like you're making $100,000 as a forklift operator, bro. Come on, dog. Come on, dog.
You
But
think he
see,
he going to say something?
But that's why I said that this is why money is the root of our evil. But we only steal it. We only steal it from ourselves, bro. That's the shit that don't make no sense about it for me. It's one
Right.
thing if somebody foreign come and do this shit, but we talking about our own people,
Own
and we
people.
ain't talking about just some regular funds. We talking about funds to made to help us get
Right.
over tragedies and that kind of shit that happened, you know what I'm saying, in the Virgin Islands.
Right.
And then this is what we're doing, you know what I'm saying? And then you sitting in high government positions and doing this. And no, I'm not saying that I would want an outside company to come and do this either, but I rather have been reporting this on somebody else
Hmm.
than reporting it on people who name we know in the community and these kind of things. That shit is insane, bro. That shit is completely
Yeah.
insane to me. And as a Virgin Islands, we need to hold ourselves accountable to and start to really recognize and educate ourselves and start promoting and enabling this bullshit, bro. Because people know, people knew,
People
you
know,
know, a
and
lot of
I
people
would
people
say
knew.
people been complaining. It's just complaining without any intentionality is gonna do what? It's just gonna be open complaints. And then one thing again with our VI community, when it's time to protest, when it's time to pick up the pitchforks and stuff, people don't be coming out. People don't be showing out. They might have a small group of people that's really passionate about it and actually trying to and want to drive some form of change. But when it's time to actually show up, all the complaints is just in the air and from the distance. People don't show up to actually be about that action, and that's one thing I do think as a Virgin Islands we could do better in being a community and being one because that's bullshit. That's bullshit. And with the amount of people, I'm sure at least had some type of information, like you said, it was enough people that know for something to have been done, even from internal. It ain't even had to take the feds.
I saw I saw Biko share a post talking on it very, very briefly. And he had two
Hmm.
hashtags that made me laugh.
What are
Buy
these?
local and thief local. That shit is insane, dog. That
Listen,
shit is insane, dog. I sad to see it. Shout out, like I said, shout out to the feds. Shout out to the feds for opening this investigation. I
Yeah.
look forward to the to everything that unfolds from this. I hope these people are held to the highest extent. And it's unfortunate because a lot of this, some of the a lot of the money won't be able to be recovered. This is just the
no.
reality of the situation. A lot of money will not be able to be recovered, and now the Virgin Islands is hurting again because of all these things. People are gonna get reported positions, they're gonna throw off imbalances and so forth. But it's all necessary. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to go through this, and sometimes you have to let a unveiling and replacement and changes and tension gonna have to go on in order for things to move forward and to get out of this position with Wapa
But
we so easily finesse because there's no way that all the checks and balances or lack thereof failed us to the point that we losing out on millions and millions of dollars in funding. That's
but
incredibly insane.
that makes me wonder though, Web, like because of these allegations and these crimes that they're committing, would that put the Virgin Islands under some sort of scrutiny when it's
Dude,
time to request funds like
I
this
and I
again?
think it will affect us. I'm not sure how much, but
Yeah,
it does
I
leave a
gotta look
bad
into that.
taste in the federal agencies' mouth. Like, why will we trust you guys to deal with funds if our experience with y'all is it being mishandled and misused with people having knowledge of this in multiple areas of the agencies? It is I can't see it not affecting us. Is all I'm saying. I'm not
Cause
sure what the
somebody gotta cut
policies
these checks.
are.
Like that's the thing. You're
Right,
right for it.
and I feel like if it does not affect the funding necessarily, it's probably going to come that funds coming attached with a grant manager to manage the
Yeah.
funds from abroad with them. They're going to send personnel with them to be the ones managing the funds because I don't see them trusting us with when shit like that happening.
We gotta live with that.
People are
But I
always
mean,
talking
like,
about government
uh
misusing
huh.
funds, doing this, doing that. But it's not every day you see the feds actually coming in and rounding up people like what's going on right now. So it's sad.
And I want to say
Hmm.
before anything ever go anywhere else, remember guys, anything we talking on is allegedly. We just talking based on the
Right.
information that was given to the public by various news media outlets. I'm not in a courtroom. I'm not in the police department. We're not in the police department. We cannot confirm some of these things. Some things we just going based off the news that we have seen, and we sharing our opinion. We're not in politics. You know what I'm saying? So we might misstep and mistake something. We're just sharing our opinion based on a lot of articles that was given out by VR Consortium and other sources, as well as background information that we're hearing through the grapevines. And just sharing our opinion because it does affect our community. I know I don't live home right now, but I still feel like I get wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
like I said, my parents live home, my children them live home. So and I from home, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like they still teething out of my pocket the same way, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
these are these kind of things is why our economy can't move forward because this is just what's been uncovered. You know what I'm saying? We could go back years. We had the Epstein thing going on. We had that kind of thing going on, and we don't even know how much money is being displaced in reality. You know what I'm saying? This is just what the little drip in the bucket, and I show this is a small drip in the bucket compared to
Compared to
some agencies
the
who probably
grand
been
scheme
doing
of
this
things.
thing. You check and years. So that's why I say glad it came about. I glad they're looking into things. I glad they calling up everybody. They season access game phone records. And I hope the whole thing burned down, man. I hope the whole thing burned down. And we gotta
Look, in
start
the
over. Fuck it.
ashes rises the phoenix, man.
Absolutely, man. That's just my personal thoughts on
Yeah,
it.
well, we gotta wait for some of these people to pass on before true change could come.
Let's start a coup
Cause
d'etat, guys. That's illegal to say
not a
out
cool.
loud.
Every other island except the VA will be about that life. It's sad to see. But like you
Man,
said, people too scared. We ain't gonna raise up on no pitchforks when we got clock in tomorrow.
like Webb Simonson, this is just federal funds for specific grants we talking. What happened to
Yeah.
VI funds that's out? I mean, what
Facts,
has
dog.
a blind eye been turned to for years? You just imagine the amount of millions of dollars that have been misplaced and misused just throughout the
Far right, you
lifetime
could
of the VI
see
dog.
it. How much junior highs they have on St. Croix?
Three, well, two now technically,
No,
but
no, no,
with
no, no. How much junior highs they have on St. Croix?
how much actual one
How
then
much junior highs on St. Croix? Exactly.
one
How much where
one
they used to
public.
be?
It used to be three public.
You check. Same thing. Like all of these things been going on. They've been going on for years. They've been getting money for schools for years. Education is one of the easiest funds to get. Children are the future. How much people run on that platform? Funds that get abused.
To be fair, when we were talking about education, we in this part talking about the director of maintenance for
Yeah,
education.
check.
Even $4 million. You check so. I ain't putting nothing past nobody at
Either
this
funds
point.
that get abused or we people don't follow out the right paperwork or the right forms and these funds get expired and they get sent right back because again we're putting people who have zero knowledge, zero understanding in these positions. They get these forms, they get certain applications that they need to apply for. They look at it like, damn, this GD didn't prepare me for this. Funds get expired, they gone back.
Hey, that sounds
Dude,
like some real personal shit.
billions of dollars are coming to the
Brother.
Virgin Islands, and they did us pass right through. Usually, when all these funds come into your economy, you try and grab some, and then disperse it to the people. It's either I grab some, put it in my own pocket, and
But
shun my
many,
own people,
to be
or it
fair
just
now,
passes by.
many
Let's be
people
fair. Let's
have
hear it.
been using these federal funds appropriately, and you are seeing action and progress in projects throughout the VI. Now,
Uh, oh, give me some examples, Farah. I'd love examples.
some examples. I mean, for one, I don't know if it's federal, but roads been getting paved. I mean, some roads do need
Dude,
attention.
all right,
Dude,
all right.
no, hush your.
You the most basic, you Crucians. Oh
Wait,
my
no, I
God, give me a better
started.
example before me and you follow.
I'm going.
Give me a better example before we follow because a
Dude,
Crucian love a paved road.
dude.
Give me a next example.
You know, I got to big up Port Authority because our federal funds goes where our federal funds goes and our projects moving. Our projects moving, but now that I'm actually thinking and trying to give you examples in the remainder of everywhere else outside of roads, I mean, look at Eulalie Rivera. We're gonna be the new author. They got work moving. They moving along. They working
Yes,
hard.
That work is
That's work
moving
non-stop.
very slow to fire.
That work
to be
starts from
fair,
from the foundation up, dog.
I have been on the job site. I have done several jobs for that. They are behind schedule.
to be fair, and I agree with Farai. We can't just sit here and bash everything without
I'm not
acknowledging the
bashing
good.
everything, but let's be
Dude is bashing
realistic. The
everything. Well,
first thing I said, what are they using to fix the infrastructure? The first thing he said is what do they do when they're looking for votes, and that's exactly what's going on right now. Election is coming on, and they rolling steam and putting all ass asphalt on the ground. That ain't even to code and fire. You know that as an engineer, they're paving on top of old as they're not digging it up. So I'm not going to give anybody any for paving a road. No, no. Elena been broke down since I graduate. And when I graduate, almost 20 years ago, our school is a forest. Arthur went bush. They said they were gonna rebuild Arthur in 2 years after the hurricane. Where is it? They've been repairing Woodson from the time my brother been going to Woodson. My brother made 50 today. But the foreigners can come out here and tell me that they're doing good and they paving roads.
I didn't say
Hey,
they're doing good
the
now. All I'm
students had to
saying is
go.
that some funds are being used for what they're
Okay, you
meant
went to
for.
Port Authority. The airport was earmarked how many times to get this improvement? They finally did it.
These things happen over years, dude. Multiple times
Yes.
these things have happened. This ain't the first time again. Earmark ain't the first time markings coming. Ain't the first time paving happening. Ain't the first time rehabilitation
And that's what I'm
happening.
saying. We're doing the same thing over and over, but it's not sticking. So you don't think it's because we're not doing it the right way?
It's because that airplanes, the maintenance plan on airports and things is it requires frequent maintenance and frequent projects
I
being
ain't
done. It's
talking
not.
about frequent maintenance and stuff like that. I'm talking about actual upgrades. Yes, I given it to Port Authority. They are doing the thing. They finished that project. The new port, spectacular. Check mark on that. They did upgrade the airport, especially the lounge area. Check on that. And I know more plans are coming. Again, you guys check on that. But the airport, Port Authority, you know where you guys fall as a government agency. You're on two halves. But let's talk about things that actually affect everybody on a day to day besides roads, schools, proper infrastructure. Let's go to those things. I want you to give me those examples. Not
And I
not
already
examples that a
said
fine engineer
when
like
I
yourself works
when I
on.
thought about it and trying to give good examples, I
You had
really
none.
I don't want to say I have none. I want to say I don't have the knowledge or didn't do the research to know.
Okay.
But
Back to you, Webb. You say you agreed with him, so I thought you let's see if you had the examples.
Wait, hold on. I'm just saying there is things. We're not gonna sit on here and say everybody in every department
Yes,
is there.
I
man,
So that's all I
understand.
was saying. I'm not gonna
Give
sit
the
on here.
listener the giving the
Hold on,
listeners
hold on.
something.
I'm not going to sit on here and
Uh-huh.
list because I am not ingrained enough to even sit on here and list.
That's
I'm
a
just
good
saying,
answer.
I know, you know what I'm saying? I'm
that's a
just
great
saying, of
answer.
course, there are stuff that's being moved, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not wronging Tafari for wanting to make sure that we recognize that not everything is just ingrained. I agree there's a whole bunch of things we could go
There
down.
is
Not
a
even so
there I'm if I'm being honest, there are a lot of things that are in motion. There are. There's several improvements, but like Fire was saying, things do take time. And especially when it has the proper oversight, that's when
I,
it takes time because that's what takes the time to do it the right way and make sure the funds are being used appropriately.
I would say for me, from my blind eye view, I think just like the roads, we have a thing where we do a lot of patchwork. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think that's part of the problem in a lot of this. And a little bit of impatience too on behalf of the people with certain things. Certain things.
Yeah,
But
I agree
the
with that.
the the patchwork is why we have to keep going back because at a certain extent, right?
Hmm.
Certain things will take time, like we are saying, and then the people don't necessarily have that patience. So it will take fortitude on the people who's trying
But
to
you
implement
you
these things.
can't blame them in that
Wait, hold
aspect.
on. Let me finish.
Uh-huh.
It's going to take fortitude of the people that were in the position and implementing these changes to say, hey, though we're hearing all these complaints, instead of just implementing the plush walk,
Hmm.
one that takes skin and see some of these projects to proper completion so that we're not having these same reoccurring problems. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's sometimes it's just like for one election year come up, okay,
Hmm.
patchwork, just enough to get what we get going. Or the people that complain about this, okay, instead we dedicate some actual time and resources to this, let's say it's patchwork so we could shut them up and then continue. I feel like so a part of that is kind of the problems too. We're not really identifying the root
Hmm.
cause of these things and attacking the problems at the roots. It's patchwork. We combine that with the fact that everybody teeth in money and we have so much corruption probably within every single department. And now
Hmm.
by the time we start to get the funds to be able to do these things, some of the funds gone. We just see that in some of the cases that we're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
But like you said, totally agree, 100%. Sometimes because of the heat you get from the community, you try to rush through certain things. But I don't fault people for their impatience because though we're getting up there in age, we are still a part of the younger generation. And some people before us have been waiting for these changes long before we even care to notice them. And like you mentioned, it comes from two things, like poor oversight and as well as misuse of funds, where you take a long time to gather the funding for certain projects and certain jobs, and then you give them to either the lowest bidder who is underqualified, the highest bidder who is too expensive, and then you don't have the oversight to regulate. Okay, when you submit this bid, you have a
So
certain timeline and a certain amount of funds allocated for that, and then time and time again, the job shuts down, or it's like, oh, you need more money because you underbid and you undercalculated. Just like this job, like you said, for Mr. Charlemagne, he kept increasing and increasing even though no work was being done. A perfect example of impatience, misuse of funds, lackluster work,
so
the
then
hospital.
I go back
The
to
temporary one.
The temporary one and the one that they're supposed to be repairing, because again, the hurricane was in 2017. They started the building of this module hospital that was supposed to only be up for 2 years. It finally had a grand opening last year, for it, and they
I
threw up
believe it was last
like a
year.
big grand opening, like it was a fun thing to have a temporary hospital. But then in that interim, no repairs are being done to the original hospital, and guess what? The temporary module is already falling apart, and it just finally had its grand opening last year.
I gonna call back, and this is not me accusing anything. I just sparking the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But how impatient can we be when we electing the same fucking people over and over again?
Who?
And that's
How
Who?
where
impatient
it
are
goes back to the people, because I really think, and I really think that a majority of our problems stems from just the atmosphere of the culture that we kind of developed and grew, like just with that same patchwork type vibe. We
Mm-hmm.
kind of more responsive to after something happens, rather than implementing these
reactive?
maintenance type changes ahead of time so that we have these things on a whole and have these things in grasp. We could have maintenance plans going on far before any of these things go bad. Buildings could last a lot longer, and the lifetime of buildings could last a lot longer if we just implemented simple maintenance changes. But instead, we wait to respond after something happened. And I don't think that only in the government. I think that's just a
Across the
cultural
board,
flaw, if you will,
I agree.
and it kind of stems from us all the way to us who are in government positions, and that culture obviously is one thing that needs to change. I do think that
I
us as
agree.
a people aren't a community, and we could get a lot of things done as a community. Most places that's thriving, you think they care about the government in order to thrive as a community? You think that they
I agree.
depend on the government to thrive as a community? They don't. Now, I do think the government, obviously, they have some responsibilities. We as a people, for real, I think is the driving cause of a lot of the problems that we have. I don't know if it obviously has to be related to a lot of the things going on, the economy, a lot of people looking out for themselves now,
Mm-hmm.
a lot price of living gone up. Houses cost more, housing costs more, rent costs more, food costs more. Everything has driven up, but the pay at jobs and a lot of places has not gone up in proportion to these price increases. So a lot of people becoming even more selfish than the natural selfishness that humans already have. I feel like that's where a lot of the summer programs, that these wasn't government agencies putting on these summer programs, and it does have some, and I see more come out. So shout out to y'all. I am seeing the sports scene starting to increase again and pick up again for the youths and the kids. Shout out to y'all. But
Shout
these
out positive guidance.
abundance back in the days, man. These things, they had so much different things for the youth to do, so much things that stemmed from the community, being for the community, for the people, we being for each other. And of course, they still have that sense of love and that vibe that you get when you're in the VI. You still have that, But when it actually comes to solid, concrete things that actually exist, programs and things like that, it's not as much as it used to be. And it starts with the people, man. It
And
starts with the
then
people. We are the ones that elect those that's in these positions. And then the youth, us, the ones that's still younger, yes, there are older people in these a lot of positions that past retirement age and should be out because it's time for new fresh minds to take over. But we also not, for one, not coming down. Obviously opportunities are a lot more in the States, but we also not the ones, our voting percentage is
I was just about
trash.
to say that.
It's
Yeah, that's true.
trash.
We don't
So
talk to the
really and
polls at
truly,
all.
it is the older generation of the older folk, the 50 and up people that's voting these people into office because we're not showing up. A lot of us don't see a reason to vote. I mean,
Yeah. And
and which is bullshit.
I was guilty of it too, you know what I'm saying? At a certain extent. But then like we sharing here, when you start to break it down, who you expect to vote the older people to really vote for? You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be biased to a certain extent. So we, the younger people who complain about these things, you have to go out there and do your part to be able to get the candidates that you feel. And we are the future. We are the brighter minds coming in now. We see the new innovative things, and we have these new thoughts. So we need to educate ourselves, and we need to go out there and vote. What you're saying is absolutely correct. And then before I get back to you, one more thing I want to say: how are you have the nerve to
Mhm.
thief from your own people and not put no money back into the community?
And I
We
think
talking about bullshit like summer program and one other star basketball player gotta come fix court, and I know I respect those, but we get man, we just hear of people here who stealing from our community while they home and
Mhm.
ain't pointing back no money in the community. Bro, I know we had a thing with by complex when the man were outside protesting fan and AC. All these big company, I mean kind of company name. If you're guilty, you're guilty. All these big companies are making big dollar, and I know our teeth into. You mean
Mhm.
tell me I can't fuck up some bread and put some fetching AC in the fucking classroom, then, bro? We gotta depend on the government for these when we thieving so much money.
Is
Not
it
we. I
is
don't
the
want to say
same
we.
children?
Ah, you.
The same children going to these schools same way. That's the thing. Like couple of them who thief, and we know who they be. Walking around with couple toe in your pocket, big knot like I like to say. Try a couple AC in the school, them couple water, something. But no, I gonna steal from the people and pass a blind eye like, ain't affecting me, so mean care.
Like Farah is saying, we got to a certain extent govern ourselves. And we just lose Farah again. He ain't like that kind of talk. Nah, man.
Man,
But we have
firing
to.
about that unity, I understand.
But now we have to govern ourselves. We really do have to govern ourselves to a certain extent. Yes, hold the government accountable, but this whole thing is we the people,
Exactly.
we the culture, we the community. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't be blaming everybody all the time when we ourselves ain't doing a good job as a community and as a village and creating the foundations and supporting each other in the ways that we need to be able to show the unity, to be able to come out in forces to get some of these things done. If everybody is divided, we can't expect our government to be any less.
Any different? Yeah, like
It's the same people. We. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you just get some foreigners and they coming down and running for government
no.
government positions. It's the same we the fucking people.
But that's the thing though, because divide between the people is becoming wider and wider, it's going to have the opportunity for a non-local to feel bold enough and empowered enough to run. They're gonna come down here,
But
do the
not only that,
minimum to get residency, and guess what? They're gonna run.
and not only that, this is why people will feel the confidence to come down here and take over so much fucking things.
Exactly.
Because
Like, these guys can't get along.
you know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, man. Sometimes I feel like somebody's foreigner to come and appreciate some of the shit that we got more than we'd appreciate that fuck. You know what I'm
That's
saying? Like,
facts.
ain't no reason why beach
You
them,
know,
any beach should be dirty and them kind of things. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, we supposed to be cleaning up these things. I sit on here and watch Kimbe, right? Kimbe, and as a matter of fact, these are one of the conversations that kind of started come true. But Kimbe used to be a big local, real local spot in the dog.
exactly. And it
We
does.
gone on Kimbe the other day, and me disrespecting nobody culture, nobody race, you know what I'm saying? But gone on Kimbe, and Kimbe is, though it's got a lot of good things going on there now, is a shell of itself when we're talking about the local presence.
The original local Sunday Lime. Now the most of the locals in a little corner up there by Sprat.
By Sprat.
And
And what they do different, they ain't do nothing that we couldn't do. We ain't try to implement. The problem is we don't want to support each other and them shit. All we want to do is compete, and then you want to come to the function and fuck up the function and farm the fucking ass. You know what I'm saying? We do not cherish and value some of these things the way we're supposed to. The only time we want to come together and cherish and value it is when somebody bad talk or something, because we only like to come together for the negative shit to go fight against it. But then as that
exactly.
problem gone, it's like we forget what the fuck.
Separate again.
And I chastise me and criticize me a lot fucking why. I don't care, because I know how to support.
Is
I
it
know
true?
as a
Is
man
it
how to
true?
support.
When it's someone from the outside against us, that's when we're gonna unify. But when somebody internally doing something that harming all of us, it's like it's not me, so why I gonna care? And that's bad.
Get checked?
That's bad. The
But
same way we could come together to protect the whole VA name is the same way you're supposed to come together to protect your neighbor or to stop your neighbor from doing wrong. You know,
facts.
like, you know this man
Facts.
stealing money. You know he corrupt. He affecting all of us because when he look bad, all of us gonna look bad.
All that we look stupid.
So I
Check, but
expect the same energy all the time. You're right.
and I feel like that when we start going in that direction, holding each other accountable and really calling out what we need to call out, and I want to repeat again, young people, we gotta drive some of this, you know what I'm saying? We have to get out there and start voting. Like I said, I used to be a person who say, you know what, am I voting don't mean that much, but it means much that other people see me voting. You know what I'm saying? And it means much because I am educated. And like I out tell them, I am educated. When I go look into these things, I could figure out a lot of these things and go make actual educated votes. Stop giving out a lazy ass excuse and being selfish, and then want to come on Facebook
I'm
and
complaining.
complain about the same things when you ain't getting no office and vote and vote. You complain about all these politicians and you ain't going out there and vote. Shut up. Take where you get and shut up then. Straight up, take where you get and shut up. You
Hey,
ain't
you're right,
contributing. What
you
you fuck you talking for?
If you contributing, all you doing is complaining. Shut up. Your
Shut
complaint
up.
means nothing because you didn't go out and put forth any effort. So you get what
Any
you get.
effort, the smallest thing to go out one day and vote, you couldn't self do that.
So
And like I said, I'm not talking from a place of better than anybody. I was the same victim of this shit, bro. Not victim. I was the same perpetrator of the bullshit mindset.
me same way. Like,
You know what I'm saying?
my word didn't hold any weight because I didn't vote. So
Yeah, we
I
gotta do
couldn't.
better.
I sort
We
of sit
gotta
on
do
there and
better.
say, what? I honestly used to separate myself. Said that's our VI people problem because I didn't vote for that person, so I didn't bear any weight to the responsibility, and I just didn't complain. I didn't put forth any
We
effort.
got
Me put no change in the bank how I want to make a withdrawal.
bar.
Oh,
Bar.
oh, good.
Yeah, bar. Bar.
Hey, Fire, welcome back.
Welcome.
I had to switch over to my phone,
Hey,
man.
don't worry. We about to close this because that audio song
Oh,
insane.
you can
Yeah,
hear the fun
dude.
and
We're
everything.
gonna cut you back up. Yeah, dude. I mean, gonna lie, you don't look as beautiful as you did 20 minutes ago. So
But
we gonna
welcome
edit.
back.
We gonna edit that like you out. Welcome back. Yeah, we gonna cut it here. We not
I go and just
audio
say mute.
sound
I go
bad.
just say I won't be on mute. Y'all finish ending it out. I go and just peace out and everything, man. Let me mute.
Yeah, just come back in to say peace over the hat.
But with that, ladies and gentlemen, especially the ladies and gentlemen that's our peers and in our age group, we are the change. We have to sit here and implement the change. We need to start holding each other accountable for bullshit work, holding each other accountable for thieving from ourselves, essentially. We got to start holding ourselves accountable for being a part of the change. Whether that means you get your fucking ass up, go learn a little bit about these politicians. It's not like they fucking, you gotta go vote. Let me stop cussing so much. It's not like you gotta go out here and election going on all year and you have to sit on here and consume so much information. Go do a little bit of research. Go out here, exercise your right to vote, and go vote and be a part of the change that we need to see. You know what I'm saying? Because we gotta lead from the front. You know what I'm saying? We cannot sit down here and complain and you're not doing nothing to help. So I know you don't think your one vote means a difference. It makes a difference. It makes a difference. And you going out there and telling your friends and telling your family members, we gotta stop this and we have to go out and vote. It makes a difference because we can't sit on here and be impatient and voting the same people every single year. So let's be the change. Let's start holding each other accountable. Shout out to the feds. I can't wait to see what more. Well, it's saddening. I ain't gonna sit on here and say I can't wait to see. It's saddening that this is the where we at with it, you know what I'm saying? But I'm glad that these things are coming to light. I'm glad these individuals' names and everything being broadcasted so that we could start holding these people accountable and we could start to realize that major change need to happen in these agencies and every agency need to have some kind of investigation into it. We need to start implementing much better checks and balances so that we could start to move forward as a Virgin Islands.
Listen,
And with that,
I agree. Hey, I just want to give a tip to the feds. Do what next.
hey, like my boy Fire to say, peace over the heart.
Yo.